interrogation room. Second, the scenery and details outside of the palace proper were the same as in the real world.
Once we heard that from Makoto, we secretly went to check it out without Akechi knowing.
There was also one more thing we absolutely needed to make this work. A perfect cognitive replica of him in the metaverse's interrogation room.
Since he had yet to be caught, though, there obviously wouldn't be anyone in that room.
Once we saw the casino guests and police officers, we were convinced this would work. They looked no different from actual living people.
After that, we just had to work our way into the palace like usual, while keeping Akechi in the dark.
Everything went as planned up until we defeated Sis's shadow. However, it was then that we were met with a terrifying, unexpected police ambush. As a result, even though we managed to grab the treasure, we couldn't get it out of the metaverse. Except that was all an act. We had prepared an empty briefcase beforehand, and merely acted like we were taking the treasure. This was because we knew the police would be coming for us.
We made sure before the operation that the police would be waiting to ambush us. And just as expected, he totally took the bait.
Him getting captured by the police went exactly how we planned it.
And I had been interrogating him with no knowledge of this. But how did you lure Akechi into this cognitive world's interrogation room?
All I needed were the coordinates.
Akechi disposed of the fake in the palace and left thinking he had been victorious. It must have been truly hilarious for our leader who sat idly in the real world's interrogation room. Surely he was acting quite cocky by himself in that quiet chamber.
So that's why you gave me your phone. I only took it because of what you told me.
It's a shame I didn't have the opportunity to see that for myself.
All I could do was try to handle all the messages that started coming to me on his phone. Huh. So in other words, I've been to the metaverse, albeit for a brief moment.
In our experience, there is little danger when someone enters their own palace for so short a time.
That's the other reason we had him give it to you. We needed you to listen to Alibaba, deceive the guard, and ultimately aid in his escape. By having you head back to the interrogation room, we could return you to the real world as well.
I mean, I had to think of some way to keep you from running into Akechi mid-assassination.
Huh. Astounding. I hadn't the slightest idea that such a grand operation was taking place within me.
I'm so glad he was able to persuade you during the interrogation. Even though we knew Akechi's plan, we were pretty worried about that part.
True.
Why is that?
Without Sis on our side, Futaba's plan and subsequent breakout would have never been possible. That persuasion was easily our greatest gamble. We couldn't consult Sis beforehand. It was absolutely the make-or-break moment of the entire plan.
Still, I'm surprised you could convince me. I see. Either way, I can't believe you went...
If we could just tell you the true culprit's plan, I knew you'd realize that our leader was telling the truth. And that the...
As a result, we emerged victorious.
Then the reason you kept this a secret from me was so you could...
Yes.
This is stunning.
I've kind of figured out that you guys made a but what did you do about the...
The police never even checked it.
Huh?
They had a coroner working to ensure his death was reported as a suicide. That coroner didn't take one look at the scene and just passed along a falsified death certificate.
The bad guy...
Murder in a police station would be reckless other...
Thanks to Futaba-chan's messages and the guards... And since the higher-ups at the police knew nothing of this, they were thrown into disarray. As a result, his suicide during imprisonment was reported on the news, just as Akechi planned.
And with that confusion, he was able to escape with Nijima-san's help.
I made sure nobody would check the morgue for his body, and thanks to that, nobody knows he survived.
Thinking back to the interrogation, the callous use of violence, and even if he had lost consciousness and hadn't,
It still freaked me out.
We made sure to live normal lives while he was being Even with that, I could...
Well, I knew
I wanted to believe.
Ryuji's a bit...
Can it?
I had to be patient and avoid this.
We knew he was alive, but...
Now that I think about it, my what a joke, letting me interrogate someone who... Very well. From here, you saved...
I'll do whatever. Let's take a break for now. Oh, and feel free to use the first... You'll need a hideout where you can...
Are you
This guy can't leave. Plus, you won't make... It's not like this place...
Let us accept his...
That sounds familiar.
It's me, Akechi.
Enter.
That's the death certificate of the principal offender, correct? Is there a problem with it?
No, nothing in particular. More importantly, you've done well with regard to the prosecutors.
The cause of death for the SIU director has been settled as a stroke.
I had him work quite substantially on forging evidence. His loss should be mourned.
It was thanks to his efforts that I could enter the Phantom Thieves' interrogation room, too.
The SIU is in disarray with his death. I'll take my time choosing a successor after the elections.
At any rate, I'm now praised as a hero, and I owe it all to the Phantom Thieves.
All possible hindrances are now gone. There's no doubt that this election is mine.
And on to our next story. The snap election for the House of Representatives. Discussion is swirling around potential nominees as the deadline for candidacy announcement nears. Candidates will announce on the 23rd of...
Elections, huh?
Why don't we resume our conversation?
Well, the Phantom Thieves are back together. We can finally take it to Akechi and the bastard backing him.
Have you figured out who's behind all this?
Akechi accidentally let that slip after the murder. He said, Shido-san.
Shido? Feels like I've heard that somewhere.
He is unmistakably a man of power if he has such strong connections to the police.
Shido? Could it be Masayoshi Shido?
Who?
I believe he's a politician.
For real?
It's certainly possible that Shido is the...
Huh?
Do you have...
Nothing material. However, First, he would profit from damage done to the current... He's maintained a negative stance toward the Phantom Thieves and has gained tremendous popularity. On top of that, he'll most likely become the next Prime Minister if he wins this upcoming election.
No!
Did he set us...
If he is behind all this, that would be in...
So his current position...
We'll make him have a chance.
Mom.
What is...
I had a feeling he was wrapped up in all this, just based on the connections I had from my previous job. I think the one who crushed Wakaba's research and confiscated her material from the moment Wakaba died. I had a hunch he was involved, but there wasn't anything...
Why didn't you say that sooner?
You guys would have he would have just killed all of you, no doubt.
Originally, I was looking. It was then that I accidentally... So, I tracked down the whereabouts of that boss was one of those parts. I would never have imagined the mental shutdown, psychotic breakdown...
Way back when, Shido kept...
What's going to happen to this...
This is nothing more than...
We gotta expose that rotten bastard!
Yeah, we'll do it. Then let's...
Masayoshi Shido, the guy running for Prime Minister.
Results found.
Got a hit! Well, duh. Ain't a surprise he happened.
Where would the location be?
What kind of things... I always think of dirty money.
What does he do?
His palace must...
got a hit!
How arrogant must he be to see himself as the ruler of the Diet Building?
Our next target's the big shot politician Masayoshi Shido. We're gonna do this, right? Hell yeah! Nobody against it?
Of course!
He will be a worthy opponent.
Let's win this together.
Time for revenge.
Then it's unanimous.
All we gotta do now is figure out what he thinks that Diet Building place is.
So that's the app that allowed me to enter the metaverse.
An old fart like me can't wrap his head around all this stuff.
We'll have to deal with this before Election Day, December 18th. That means we need it done by the 17th.
It's best we hurry before they discover there's no body in the morgue.
Should we start tomorrow then? We can meet at the Diet Building after school.
That reminds me, what are you gonna do about school? You can't show up if you're supposed to be dead.
Miss Kawakami said he went back home for family reasons.
That's what I told the school.
Don't let him find out you're alive then, alright? This whole thing would be for nothing.
What do you mean?
This operation had another purpose outside of escaping Akechi's clutches. Shido tried to place all the blame on the fact he has ruined countless lives. And even a mere change of heart is too—
We'll be making use of the police state. Our leader, who is presumed, he'll say he has escaped prison.
Everyone's gonna—
You guys thought...
We're in elect—
That's why you needed—
But the true— We won the first round.
Yeah.
These people tried to— We will need to be—
I finally made it this far. It's already been 2.5 years since we met.
Back then, you earned the media's attention as a young politician who could rise up against bureaucracy. Because of that, those who wanted to preemptively deal with problems tried to tie you up in scandal.
To think I would fall for the ruse schemed by those decrepit fools in power. I recall that's when you came to me. You promoted yourself saying you had special powers. If it wasn't for the research on cognition that I dabbled in, I would have thought you insane.
I made those troublesome opponents psychotic, and erased any trace of that scandal.
Who'd think that tampering with a person's heart could trigger a psychotic lapse or mental shutdown? And when someone like that said he'd support me, I had suspected there'd be an ulterior motive.
It's because I sympathized with your aspiring ideology. I believed that your ideals needed to be achieved for the sake of the country's future.
Well, my faith in you was precisely why I pulled the plug on that research. I only need you using that power. It'd be troublesome if someone else uncovered how it works.
Wakaba Ishiki, was it? That researcher.
Any suspicions should be snubbed out. Even the smallest doubt must be severed at the root. After all, we had an active public prosecutor's office director on our side, until recently.
Astounding, isn't it? To think the director himself often forged evidence to secure his promotion. He was quite surprised when you confronted him about— Well, I got that out of his—
This country's affairs have become stagnant. The political world is filled with old men who only act to preserve their own vested interests. The general public has forsaken such political affairs and don't even bother. Only ruin awaits us.
I must agree.
There's no need to be ruined along with such incompetent fools. I will lead this country to its revival. Those who get in the way must be eliminated at times. That's the correct way to use the metaverse.
Still, it would stand out if— Which is why I made them prosecute the targets that I turned psychotic and solve them. And thus, the charismatic ace detective was born.
Thanks to your efforts, my clean image remains untarnished, and I've monopolized public opinion. Once I gained public sentiment, the police were no exception. With them—
When the Phantom Thieves emerged—
And they were just brats once we looked into it.
When you told me that—
Their popularity wasn't— After that, all I had to do was openly be— The current administration is dead with even the government parties. The time has finally come. Just a little more, and I will take the seat of Prime Minister. However, inauguration isn't my goal. That's when everything truly begins. I'll make this country rich for the sake of its selfish and ignorant masses who can only rely on others.
In other words, you're creating a...
The public resonates with my ideals and follows me. And for that, some sacrifices can't be avoided. That is my... Your assistance has been very... When I become prime...
With this most recent case, my name is... Surely my story will be passed down. I believe I'll lay low.
I suppose with your age, you wouldn't...
I am.
Well, how do I put this?
Well then. Sorry.
Remember how I hijacked your phone during the school trip? That kinda came in handy. What? That's no fun.
He's tired. You can tell him some other time, okay?
So. Well, how do I put this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna head back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else should I be?
Yeah.
Please don't take off my mask. Revealing all.
Hey!
Yeah.
I'm gonna head back then.
Guess he won't be going to school for a while. Don't worry about it. This'll be a breeze compared to what we've had to face so far. And we'll have all the time to come up with the plans together. To be perfectly honest, I don't really care what happens to Shido, one way or the other. But when I consider the fact that he's your enemy, I naturally think he's my enemy as well. I'm going to stay with you until the very end. Well then, we should get to sleep. You know, something that Futaba said before. When you were in a pinch in the palace, she picked up a reading of someone who came to your rescue. Was that... So it was Yoshizawa. Then we'd better let her know you're safe now. And I'll even lend you a hand with...
There's no point in even having an election. Shido's gonna win.
Of course, he's the only reliable politician there is. Plus, the current government has been getting wrapped up in scandal after scandal. Even more importantly, there's just an aura about him. Like he can fix whatever problems we have.
Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me who does it. I just want to see our society back on track, especially after it turned out those phantom thieves were nothing more than scum in the end.
We'll show you.
Cut that out!
Hey.
Okay. Alright, let's head to the Diet Building. Make sure you aren't discovered, okay?
You going out? You gotta be kidding me. You realize you're done for if you get caught, right? Ugh. The stunts you pull sometimes. Just don't stay out too late.
Akechi isn't here.
Let's begin at once. Police cars are making rounds, so we can't stay here too long. We already have Masayoshi Shido and Diet Building. All we need is what he thinks of this place.
Maybe Mount Fuji, since it's the highest place in the country?
Conditions have not been met.
What about a mansion?
Since he's going to subjugate...
What about an
Imperial Palace?
Conditions have not been met.
It's no good.
I thought we would have gained entry by now. Maybe we shouldn't have called you here.
Hey, you think he's guarding his whole palace with a barrier? Shido stole the cognitive science research, right? Well, maybe it had some special move written in it.
Is that even possible?
Who knows? I've got no idea.
There was nothing like that in the notes I saw.
Anyways, what kind of person is Shido? I can't figure him out.
I did some light research on him last night, but I couldn't get a grasp on the type of man he is.
That man over there is probably a legislator, right? I'll try asking him. Excuse me, I'm a member of the newspaper club at my high school. May I speak with you for a moment?
Sure.
What kind of person is Representative Shido? What's he think about the national diet?
His stance is dedication for country. It's how he's garnered everyone's trust. He's an admirable man of action, with a first-class determination. I'd say he's a model politician. I believe that he'll help create a wonderful future in which young adults like you can live in ease.
An exemplary answer. It makes sense he wouldn't tell teenagers anything unnecessary.
Look over there. He's on a walkie-talkie.
Wait, is it about us?
That doesn't look good.
We should leave at once. Tomorrow's a day off, so let's have an early strategy meeting. Meet at LeBlanc, okay?
We should all think about this tonight.
The criminals calling themselves the Phantom Thieves are no more. However, I believe that this country's citizens are still living their days in anxiety. These scandals only increase our distrust of the current government. As a citizen myself, I am enraged.
Look who's talking.
What does it mean to be a politician with responsibility? Working toward personal gain without consideration of the country is outrageous.
The election's public notification is tomorrow. No matter where I go, people are cheering for Shido.
Everyone's being deceived so easily.
In order to save this country that has been tainted by villains, social reform is essential.
Ugh.
I should write something.
Where have you been? Been searching all along. Can face it while I'm...
Oh, you want to do it? Yes! Now, let's carry out our plan. Okay. Nice going!
All right. All right.
Well then. Last one. Diamond mine.
Conditions have not been met.
No good.
How many do we miss?
Perhaps he truly does have a barrier up.
Right?
That's not something to be excited about.
We know all the way up to Diet Building, too.
So you enter